All right, so we've got this mountain of information about RAID arrays you said over.
Yeah.
You're putting together a pretty awesome storage system, huh? But figuring out the best RAID setup,
It can be a bit of a maze.
oh yeah, totally. It's like, you don't want to spend all your time, reading those like really long technical documents
Right.
and like watching, hours of YouTube tutorials.
Nobody has time for that.
And that's why we're here. So it looks like you've been considering three main options. Hardware RAIDs,
Yes.
the always popular ZFS, and then the good old reliable MDM.
Yep, those are the big ones.
Each one has its own, quirks and advantages.
And we're going to break it all
That's
through.
like having your own personal guide.
Yeah, through the RAID jungle.
So the real question is, in 2025, who's the champion? Is it the raw power of the dedicated hardware, or, do the software options take the crown?
Ooh, that's the question, isn't it?
It is.
Well, let's kick things off with the classic contender.
Okay?
Hardware RAID. It's been the go-to solution for years.
Yeah, and for good reasons.
For good reason.
So from what I've seen, a hardware RAID card, it's like having a whole separate little computer just focused on your storage.
Yeah, it's like a mini data center.
It's got its own processor cache memory, even a battery backup to protect your data if the power goes out.
You got it. It's like having a bodyguard for your precious data. And that onboard cache, oh, that's a game changer.
Really?
It acts like a buffer for those write operations, especially if you're using slower mechanical drives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the battery backup.
Right.
That makes sure that none of that data in the cache disappears if you have a power outage.
Poof, gone.
Exactly.
But like any piece of hardware, that's specialized, there's always drawbacks.
Of course. There always is.
Right.
So you're kind of stuck with finding a compatible RAID card,
Right.
which can be a bit of a pain depending on your motherboard, especially if you're using a consumer-grade model.
Oh, I see.
And let's not forget those batteries.
Oh, yeah, they need replacing eventually.
Yeah, you can't just ignore them forever.
This is where I think having a partner like Stonefly could be such a huge help.
Oh, absolutely.
They have the know-how to guide you through, all the hardware RAID options.
For sure.
And they can really help you figure out if it's the best fit for you.
They're the experts.
Yeah, and speaking of tailoring solutions,
Yes.
Stonefly, they don't just do hardware RAID.
No, they don't.
They're experts in data storage and management solutions.
All sorts of things.
All sorts of things. You can check them out at www.stonefly.com.
Exactly. Go explore their website.
And they can help you figure out all the possibilities, including the, software RAID options.
Yeah, those are becoming really popular.
ZFS and MDADM. What's so cool about software RAID is how flexible it is.
Absolutely.
You're not locked into a specific piece of hardware.
Nope.
Which is a big plus, in today's tech world. Everything changes so quickly.
It's constantly evolving.
One thing that really stood out to me was how ZFS handles that write hole problem.
Oh, yeah. That's a nasty one.
It's like the worst. It uses this copy-on-write approach where it never overwrites existing data.
Clever.
So it writes new data to fresh blocks, and then it updates the pointers.
This is smart.
This makes sure that the data is consistent even if the power goes out.
Yeah, right in the middle of a write operation.
It's brilliant.
It's like it anticipates the problem.
So if I'm understanding this right, MDADM, it uses a journaling technique
It does.
to kind of deal with the write hole?
Yep, think of it like a logbook.
Oh, okay.
That keeps track of all the write operations.
Right.
So if your system crashes before the data is written to the disks,
Oh, yeah.
MDADM can use that journal to recover everything and keep your data safe.
That's pretty cool. So ZFS is like writing a new draft of a document, and then MDADM is like keeping like a detailed edit history.
I like that analogy. That's a good one.
Which has got to be a trade-off somewhere, right?
Well, there always is, right?
Yeah.
With MDADM's journaling, it relies on the disks themselves.
Oh, okay.
Which can slow things down, especially if you're using slower mechanical drives.
I see.
It's a bit like trying to write your to-do list on a stone tablet.
Oh, wow.
It gets the job done.
Eventually.
But it's not exactly speedy.
And that's where the hardware RAID card with that dedicated cache memory really shines.
Exactly. It's all about speed and efficiency, especially for those write operations.
Okay, so let's put all these contenders to the test.
All right, let's do it.
We found this YouTube video with some pretty intense performance comparisons. What did we learn?
So for sequential read and write operations, the hardware RAID card took the lead.
Yeah, not surprising.
Yeah, not really a surprise there, with that dedicated processing power and cache.
But ZFS was right behind it.
It was. It put up a good fight.
So software RAID is not messing around.
No, it's a serious contender.
And that battery backup really came in handy for the hardware RAID, especially with all those write operations.
Oh, for sure. It's like a safety net for your data.
But ZFS had a secret weapon, didn't it?
It did indeed.
It was all about those rebuild times.
That's right. ZFS knows about all the unused space.
Right.
And that gives it a real edge when it comes to rebuilds. It only rebuilds the data.
Oh, wow.
It skips all those empty areas.
So it was way faster.
Significantly faster than both the hardware RAID and MDADM.
That's really impressive. So, for someone like me who's not doing, constant heavy write operations, ZFS seems like it could be a really good choice.
It definitely could be. And this is another area where Stonefly's expertise really shines.
Okay.
They can take a look at your specific needs and workload and help you figure out if ZFS is the right fit for your performance needs.
I'm telling you, they can tailor solutions down to the tiniest detail.
They can. They're amazing. And don't forget, you can find them at www.stonefly.com.
That's right. All right, let's talk about CPU usage.
Okay, let's get into that.
As you'd expect, the hardware RAID card, it just sips those CPU resources.
Very polite.
Even during demanding tasks like rebuilds.
It's designed to take the load off your main system.
Right. But even though software RAIDs like ZFS and MDADM, they use more CPU cycles,
They do.
it's not really a problem for most home server setups.
No, not at all.
Especially with these modern CPUs.
Modern CPUs are beasts.
They are. So unless you're running some really demanding application,
Yeah, like some crazy simulations.
the extra CPU usage from software RAID, you're not going to notice it.
It'll be fine.
But for those who are really pushing their systems to the limit,
Yeah, those power users.
or maybe they just need that extra peace of mind, Stonefly can optimize your whole hardware and software configuration.
They're the best.
They can make sure your RAID setup runs smoothly and efficiently.
Absolutely. Whether you choose hardware or software RAID.
They got you covered.
They do. And that's really where their expertise comes in. You know, Stonefly, they can help you fine-tune your setup to get the absolute best performance.
Okay.
They consider all those little details that really make a difference. You can reach out to their team at sales@stonefly.com or visit their website, www.stonefly.com.
They really are like the master mechanics
They are.
of the data storage world.
Absolutely.
So let's get back to our RAID array showdown.
All right.
We've talked about performance, CPU usage, rebuild times. Is there like a clear winner in this battle?
You know, it's like anything in tech. There's not a simple answer.
Right.
Every approach has its strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And the best choice, it really depends on what you need and what's important to you.
It's like choosing between a super powerful sports car and a reliable off-road vehicle.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
They're both amazing.
They are.
But, you know, they're good in different situations.
Exactly. If you're all about speed, you need the fastest thing out there, and you have a system that's compatible.
Right?
Then a hardware RAID card, that's a great choice.
Okay.
It's like having a dedicated express lane for your data.
But if I need flexibility,
Okay.
if I want to be able to use different drives and I want, you know, like a more integrated way to manage my data,
Yeah,
then software RAID,
that's where it shines.
something like ZFS.
Exactly. And for a lot of home users, you know, the performance differences between hardware and software RAID,
Yeah.
especially if you're using mechanical hard drives, it's not going to be a huge deal.
Right.
It might come down to things like, you know, how easy it is to use,
Mm-hmm.
the cost, you know.
Right.
What specific features do you absolutely need?
And it's important to remember that software RAID, it gives you more than just, you know, basic RAID features.
That's right.
ZFS, for example.
Yeah.
It gives you snapshotting, value management, all kinds of tools that can make your life so much easier.
It's like a Swiss Army knife for your data.
Wow.
It can do it all.
So let's say someone's listening to this, right?
Okay.
And they're feeling a little overwhelmed
Yeah.
by all these choices.
It can be a lot.
What advice would you give them as they're trying to figure out which RAID path to take?
I would say you really need to think about your budget.
Okay.
How comfortable are you with technology?
Yeah.
And what are you actually going to be using this for?
That makes sense.
You know, do you need the absolute top-of-the-line performance,
Mhm.
or is it more important that it's flexible and easy to use?
Right.
You got to figure out what matters most to you.
And if they're still feeling lost,
Yeah.
Stonefly's team of experts, they're always there to help.
Absolutely.
Remember, you can find them at www.stonefly.com
Go check them out.
or reach out to their sales team directly at sales@stonefly.com.
They'll take care of you.
All right, so let's say you've already got a RAID set up,
Okay.
but you're thinking about switching to a different solution.
Mm-hmm.
What are some important things to keep in mind when you're making that transition?
It's kind of like moving to a new city.
Oh, okay.
You got to do your research.
Right.
Figure out the lay of the land before you start packing.
Makes sense.
Research is so important.
Okay.
Each RAID solution has its own little quirk and best practices.
I see.
Don't assume that you can just copy your old setup exactly the same way.
Right.
Take some time to learn, you know, what's the best configuration for the new system.
So you're getting the most out of it.
Exactly. You want the best performance and reliability.
And even if you're already familiar with one RAID solution,
Mm-hmm.
things change.
They do.
The world of data storage is always evolving.
Always something new to learn.
There's always something new to explore.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
It has been fun.
Thanks for, you know, walking us through this world of RAID arrays.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
It is.
But you've helped us understand the key differences.
I'm glad we could help. We've covered a lot.
We have.
But we've really just scratched the surface.
Yeah, just the tip of the iceberg.
There's so much more to learn about RAID technology.
There is.
And for those who want to go deeper,
Yeah,
Stonefly's there.
they are.
They can offer their expert advice, and create a solution just for you.
Right.
And remember, you can find them at www.stonefly.com.
Go check them out.
You've really given me a lot to think about.
Good.
It's not just about finding the fastest speeds.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance, between performance and flexibility and how easy it is to use.
Yeah, you want something that works for you.
For me, for my needs.
Exactly. And, even within each type of RAID, there's so many ways to customize it.
Really?
You mentioned that you might not be doing like tons of write operations.
Yeah.
So you could set up ZFS to really focus on read performance.
Oh, okay.
Maybe even try different caching strategies to make things even faster.
So it's like having a powerful engine.
Yeah.
You got to know how to tune it.
You got to know how to get the most out of it.
Right. To match how I use it.
Exactly. Understanding how it all works under the hood that gives you the power to make smart decisions.
About how to configure it.
Yeah, and how to optimize everything.
And if that feels a little overwhelming,
Which it can.
Stonefly's team, they can help with that.
Absolutely. They're the experts.
They can provide that deep level of support.
You can find them at sales@stonefly.com or check out their website at www.stonefly.com.
It's good to know that that expertise is out there,
Mm-hmm.
especially because, this technology, it's always changing.
It never stops.
So what about the future of RAID?
Ooh, good question.
Are there any, big innovations coming?
I think
that
so.
could change everything?
There's this technology called persistent memory.
Okay.
It's pretty exciting. Imagine having storage that's as fast as RAM,
Wow.
but it keeps your data even when the power's off.
That would change everything.
It could completely change how we think about data storage.
Yeah.
It might even blur the line between memory and storage.
It's incredible how far we've come with data storage.
It is.
And to think that, there's still so much potential.
So much more to come.
This has been so eye-opening.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you so much for guiding me through all of this.
My pleasure. It's complicated stuff.
It really is.
But we got through it.
And you made it so clear.
Well, if you ever find yourself, lost in the world of data storage,
Yeah.
remember, Stonefly is there to help.
Okay.
They can help you find the perfect solution.
They really are the data storage of superheroes.
They are. If any of our listeners are looking for expert advice or custom solutions,
Right.
they can visit Stonefly's website at www.stonefly.com
Okay.
or reach out to their sales team directly at sales@stonefly.com.
Perfect. Well, this has been an amazing deep dive.
It has.
Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And exploring the world of RAID arrays with us. We'll see you
Okay.
next time.